Freya Holm stepped out of the cafe where she worked weekends, and from that moment, her life took a dark turn. Disturbing clues began to surface, hinting at something truly awful. This case quickly became Sweden's top news story, mobilizing over 1,000 people for the largest search operation in the country's history. As investigators pieced together the puzzle, they uncovered a grim truth that left everyone stunned. How could such a tragedy have happened? Let's rewind to Freya's background. Freya Holm was born on February 7, 1999, in the serene Swedish town of Hu. It was a place of quietude and peace, where she lived with her parents and older sister. Freya stood out for her kindness, positivity, and determination. Even before finishing school, she had her sights set on Australia and a career in architecture. Freya's adventurous spirit led her to explore other countries alongside her parents. At 16, Freya landed her first serious job at a cafe located a 40-minute drive from her home. Initially, her parents drove her there, but soon her father gifted her a scooter. With a license for this mode of transport, Freya relished the independence it offered. However, during those initial weeks, her father accompanied her in his car. Freya had minimal experience driving on the roads. Her work at the cafe was limited to weekends, and her father dutifully accompanied her every morning and evening. However, everything changed on June 7th, when he finally allowed her to drive to work alone. Around lunchtime, Freya's parents decided to visit her at the bustling cafe. Amid the crowd, Freya was engrossed in her duties, taking a brief break for lunch and sharing a snack with her parents. At 6:23 p.m., Freya sent her father a text, informing him that she was leaving work. But just 3 minutes later, he received an unexpected call from her. When he answered, no one spoke on the other end. Faint voices murmured in the background, leading him to believe that Freya had accidentally dialed his number while conversing with her colleagues. He even heard the distinct sound of a car door slamming shut. Calling out her name repeatedly, he received no response before finally ending the call. Growing increasingly worried, an hour passed without any sign of Freya. She should have arrived home by now. Concerned for her safety, her father considered the possibility of an accident. It was her first time riding the scooter alone, and he feared the worst. Despite calling her multiple times, Freya's phone remained off. Desperate, her father hit the road, hoping to intercept her along the way. Knowing she would take the shortest route, he drove slowly, scanning the road for any trace of his daughter. But Freya was nowhere to be found. Eventually, he arrived back at the cafe, still without any sign of her. The man's heart raced as he noticed Freya's scooter parked in front of the building. Panic surged through him. He had been unable to find his daughter throughout the entire journey. But there it was, the scooter, a beacon of hope. Perhaps she was merely delayed at work. However, as he stepped into the cafe, his relief turned to dread. The place was empty, devoid of any sign of Freya. And then he saw it. Freya's scooter keys, left in the ignition, a helmet hanging from its handle. His mind raced. Why would she abandon her scooter like this? She would never leave the keys in the ignition, not like this. Desperation drove him to call Freya's mother. Maybe she knew something. But the cafe owner, when contacted, claimed ignorance. She had spoken to her employees around 6 p.m., and they were closing up. No one had seen Freya. The cafe owner sprang into action. She hopped into her car, calling 4 friends who lived nearby. Together, they scoured the area, searching every nook and cranny. Maybe Freya had taken a bus instead of the scooter. Her mother and older sister checked the bus schedule, but Freya wasn't on any bus. As darkness settled, panic intensified. The police were called. Extensive searches began. Freya's scooter, left in the parking lot with the keys, raised chilling possibilities. Abduction? Such cases were rare in Sweden, but hope was dwindling. They needed answers, and they needed them fast. In the remote provincial area where Freya's town was nestled, the police sprang into action. Several groups, accompanied by search dogs, fanned out across the terrain. Simultaneously, officers knocked on doors of every house near the cafe, hoping for any leads. Word spread like wildfire. Freya's classmates and friends took to social media, sharing information about her disappearance, desperate to attract attention and perhaps uncover witnesses. The night wore on, but the search yielded no results. Then, on Monday morning, the police department officially announced Freya's disappearance, urging anyone with useful information to step forward. Around the same time, a man working at a barn adjacent to the cafe made a chilling discovery: a motorcycle glove lying on the floor. Detectives had previously inspected the barn on the evening of Freya's disappearance, but the glove had escaped their notice. When shown to Freya's parents, they confirmed it belonged to their daughter, further fueling the abduction theory. Additional resources were deployed, and news of Freya's vanishing spread nationwide. Hundreds of volunteers joined the search. On Tuesday, more alarming clues emerged. Volunteers scoured the area along a dirt road, a few hundred yards from the cafe. There, they found a phone case, a receipt, a ticket, and a broken smartphone screen, all unmistakably Freya's. The investigation honed in on that very spot. More fragments of the shattered phone, Freya's ID, and additional receipts were scattered along the same dirt road. The abduction of Freya sent shockwaves through the community. The police mobilized all available resources, and as each day passed, more people joined the search. Freya's case dominated headlines in Sweden, capturing the nation's attention. Hundreds of volunteers from across the country rallied to participate in the largest search operation in modern Swedish history. Among those aiding the search was a local volunteer organization specializing in finding missing persons. Their collective efforts were relentless, fueled by hope and determination. The police hotline buzzed with tips and leads, each call a potential breakthrough. One jogger's encounter stood out. She recounted an unsettling incident from the day before Freya vanished. A man, speaking English, had stopped her on the road, seeking directions to an unfamiliar city. When he insisted she get into his car to guide him using his navigator, her instincts kicked in. She declined, continuing her run. She later realized she had seen this man among the workers repairing the barn across from the cafe. Freya's colleagues also had an observation. On the day of her disappearance, they noticed two men standing across the road from the cafe, their gaze fixed on the establishment. At the time, it seemed insignificant, but in hindsight, it became a crucial detail. Then, on Wednesday morning, Freya's father and friends ventured to the dirt road where her belongings had been found. As they walked farther, they made alarming discoveries: Freya's driver's license and her house keys. The pieces of the puzzle were falling into place, but the mystery deepened. Where was Freya? What had happened to her? The search intensified, fueled by desperation and the unwavering hope of finding her alive. The unfolding events painted a chilling picture. Freya, her belongings strewn along the road, taken away from the cafe. the abductor discarded her things, keys, helmet, and scooter, like breadcrumbs leading to an ominous destination. The police and volunteers focused their efforts on this path, desperate for any sign of her. But that evening, a twist occurred. A friend of Freya's father, passing by the cafe, noticed the police tape removed from the barn where Freya's glove had been found. Curiosity piqued. He stepped inside, flashlight in hand. The dim light revealed something unexpected. A pair of earrings glinting on the floor. Identical earrings lay nearby. He reported this to the police, who showed them to Freya's parents. Their confirmation sealed the connection. The jewelry belonged to their missing daughter. The barn was sealed once more, but this time, thoroughness prevailed. Forensic experts and search dogs combed every inch. And then, behind a wall, an unusual clue emerged: human feces. At first glance, it seemed unrelated, but the experts proposed an intriguing theory. When criminals commit heinous acts, adrenaline floods their bodies. Sometimes, this intense surge leads to an uncontrollable need to relieve themselves. Even killers in their darkest moments may involuntarily betray their presence. The search intensified, fueled by desperation and determination. Freya's fate hung in the balance, and the clock ticked relentlessly. The truth lay hidden within these cryptic clues, waiting to be unraveled. As the investigation unfolded, the pieces of the puzzle began to fit together. Freya's glove and earrings discovered in the barn hinted at a grim possibility. The perpetrator might have dragged her into that very building. Detectives refused to rule out the notion that adrenaline-fueled urgency could lead to an involuntary act, relieving themselves. The feces found were sent for DNA analysis, hoping to unravel the truth. On Friday, the search area expanded. Volunteers reached a farm about 2 miles from the cafe, a sprawling complex with several large buildings. The search team meticulously inspected each one. But then, 2 men arrived, speaking only English. One claimed the police had already been there, but the team leader remained skeptical. He pressed on, determined to uncover any secrets hidden within the farm's walls. As the men watched, the search continued. And then, behind the cowshed, a pile of branches concealed a chilling cache: a motorcycle helmet, jacket, and headphones, all belonging to Freya. The police descended on the scene, confirming the connection. Forensic experts combed every inch, and their attention turned to an unusual find: human feces. It seemed unrelated, but they knew better. When criminals commit heinous acts, adrenaline surges, sometimes leading to uncontrollable urges. Detectives also recalled a jogger's encounter with a suspicious English-speaking man. And they had an inkling. From the outset, they had visited every house near the cafe. In one, 2 Lithuanian brothers and the wife of one lived, none speaking Swedish, all communicating in English. The pieces were falling into place, but Freya's fate remained shrouded in darkness. The search persisted, fueled by determination and the desperate hope of finding her alive. Freya Holm's disappearance and the subsequent investigation gripped Sweden, leaving an indelible mark on the nation's collective memory. On June 7, 2015, Freya Helena Holm, a 16-year-old girl from Skövde, was working at a cafe in Blomberg, near Kalby, in Västergötland, Sweden. She sent a text message to her father at 6:23 p.m., saying she was on her way home on her moped. However, when Freya didn't arrive, her father went to her workplace, where he found her moped with the keys still in the ignition. Concerned, he and the cafe owner searched the cafe in the nearby area, but Freya was nowhere to be found. At 9:47 p.m., they reported her missing to the police. The police initiated searches in the vicinity, including a barn with several rooms, but initially found no trace of Freya. On June 9th, the search team discovered Freya's cell phone case, receipts, tickets, and other personal items that confirmed they belonged to her. The search area was expanded, and Missing People, a volunteer organization, joined the efforts. Earrings and her license card for the moped were found, and on June 12th, Missing People searched the Martorp estate, a few kilometers from the cafe. There, they found Freya's jacket and helmet. Later that same night, Freya's body was discovered in a nearby workshed. The forensic investigation revealed that Freya had been murdered by hanging or strangulation. DNA evidence linked Lithuanian citizen Nerijus Bilevičius to the crime scene. His DNA was found on pieces of rope and 10 pieces of Freya's clothing, both inside and outside the locker where her body was hidden. Bilevičius had no alibi for the day of the murder, and the motive appeared to be of a sexual nature. Despite the absence of signs of sexual assault, Freya's partially unclothed body was found with a rope around her neck and tape over her head. The news of Freya's abduction and subsequent discovery of her body dominated headlines in Sweden. The tragic case left a lasting impact on the country, highlighting the importance of justice and safety for young individuals. Freya's lifeless body lay in the car as it sped toward the farm. Along the way, the perpetrator flung her belongings out of the window, scattering them across the roadside. At the farm, hidden within the trailer locker, Freya's remains were concealed beneath a pile of old clothes. The abduction had been swift, less than an hour from the moment Freya was taken. Despite compelling evidence, the perpetrator stubbornly maintained his innocence. His wife and younger brother, lacking any incriminating evidence, were eventually released. They wasted no time, swiftly departing Sweden to return to their homeland in Lithuania. As the trial loomed, the intensity grew. The accused, Nair, claimed he had toiled in that very barn for an extended period, suggesting his DNA might naturally be present there due to his work. Furthermore, he presented an alibi supported by both his wife and brother. However, doubts lingered about the credibility of these sources in court. On the other hand, the victim's clothing bore traces of Nass's DNA. This could only be explained by direct contact with Freya on the day of the murder. The police discovered a witness who had seen Nair's car near the cafe shortly before and after Freya's abduction. The car had repeatedly traversed the road between the cafe and the farm during the same time frame when Nair was supposedly at home, asleep, according to his brother and wife. Months passed after Freya's body was found, yet experts continued their meticulous examination of all available evidence. Cutting-edge equipment revealed Nass's DNA on nearly every article of Freya's clothing, including the inside of her underwear. As the entire country followed the case, investigators persisted in their search for additional clues that could strengthen the legal case against Nair. They even traveled to Lithuania to re-interview his wife and brother, but the woman remained steadfast in her insistence that Nair was innocent and had not left their home. During the investigation, the spotlight shifted to Naz's younger brother. detectives pressed him for information, revealing the mounting evidence against his sibling. The brother, cornered, finally divulged the truth. He asserted that Naz had not been at home that fateful evening. Instead, Naz returned around 7:30 p.m., covered in dirt. In a panic, he hastily tossed his soiled clothes into the washing machine. As the police questioned all the residents, Naz whispered to his brother, urging him to vouch for his presence at home during that critical time. Naz later explained that he feared being wrongfully framed due to his immigrant status and lack of an alibi during the abduction window. Initially, the younger brother staunchly believed in Naz's innocence. However, faced with the weight of the evidence, he realized otherwise. Freya's funeral occurred just a month after her tragic murder. The church, with a capacity for 130 people, overflowed with mourners. To accommodate the crowd, organizers set up benches and large screens outside, allowing everyone to participate in the ceremony. The trial commenced 4 months later, once again gripping the entire nation. The pressure on everyone involved was immense. No room for error existed. Naz's lawyer clung to the argument that his client's DNA might have innocently ended up on the victim's clothing due to his work in the barn. However, the prosecution dismantled this theory, especially concerning Freya's underwear. The only plausible explanation for Naz's DNA being there was direct contact with the victim. The lawyer struggled to provide any other substantial evidence supporting Naz's innocence. Desperate, he even floated the theory that the real murderer might be Naz's younger brother. During the trial, Naz's younger brother unexpectedly provided crucial information. He confessed to manipulating multiple samples of Naz's DNA and placing them on the victim's body and at the crime scene. The lawyer struggled to explain how such DNA manipulations were possible. Despite the defense's efforts, the trial lasted a month, and Naz was ultimately found guilty of murder. His sentence: life imprisonment in a high-security prison. In Sweden, even prison facilities lean toward comfort, resembling decent 3-star hotels. Naz's lawyer attempted an appeal, but it was swiftly rejected in early 2017. Naz himself applied for deportation, seeking transfer to a Lithuanian prison. The reasons behind this decision remained undisclosed. Lithuanian prisons, however, are notably harsher than their Swedish counterparts. Still, the court approved Naz's request, even though providing comfortable detention conditions cost Swedish taxpayers significantly. In the same year, Naz's motives became apparent. He appealed to a Lithuanian court, successfully reducing his life sentence to 15 years. Yet, this fleeting joy was short-lived. The court later overturned its decision, condemning Naz to spend his entire life in prison, albeit without the comfort of his previous Swedish cell. In August 2022, Naz faced another grim reality after being transferred to a Lithuanian prison. During a routine inmate relocation, he was viciously attacked with a shank, sustaining severe injuries that proved fatal on the way to the hospital. As for Naz's wife, her involvement remains an open question. While there is practically no chance of her direct participation in the abduction or murder, experts would have detected her DNA on Freya's clothing or belongings if she were implicated. The story of Lily, a person whose outer innocence masked a terrifying reality. Early psychological and physical traumas can unpredictably shape someone's adult life. While not every individual who faces such hardships turns to malevolence, in some cases, these experiences can forge a genuine monster. According to criminal psychologist Noah, there are certain genetic and psychophysical factors that might predispose someone to become a remorseless murderer. a topic he elaborates on in his work, The Anatomy of Violence. The annals of crime are replete with serial offenders whose nightmarish childhoods arguably set them on their dark paths, and Lily might just be among them. With her deceptive, angelic looks, she lured her victims before committing heinous acts. Though the courts only convicted her of 2 murders, experts believe she was responsible for many more. Let's delve into this complex tale from the start, exploring whether Lily was innately monstrous or molded into one by the harshness she endured in her youth. Who was Lily? Born on July 4, 1958, in the quaint rural setting of Fort Payne, Alabama, Sheila was the youngest of 3 siblings. Growing up on a farm surrounded by cornfields, she lived a life marked by both beauty and isolation. Her older sibling recalls Sheila as a lively, curious, and imaginative young girl, always seeking attention and brimming with creativity. Let's embark on this journey to uncover the truth behind Lily's story, questioning if her monstrous deeds were inherent or the product of a tragic upbringing. As we delve deeper into Lily's life, we encounter a narrative punctuated by contradictions and tragedies that may have contributed to her eventual transformation into a figure of horror. Sheila's early years, characterized by a semblance of rural idyll, masked underlying tumults and potential early signs of psychological distress. Her transition from an imaginative and vibrant child to an adult capable of unimaginable cruelty raises questions about the nature versus nurture debate in the development of a criminal mind. It's crucial to explore the environment and experiences that may have acted as catalysts for her dark journey. During her teenage years, Sheila's behavior reportedly began to show erratic patterns, hinting at underlying issues that were possibly exacerbated by her surroundings or personal experiences. The detailed accounts of her life during this period remain sparse, but it's suggested that she encountered numerous challenges that could have impacted her psychological development. Upon reaching adulthood, Sheila's angelic facade became a tool in a sinister arsenal. Her ability to manipulate and charm those around her speaks to a certain psychological savvy which she employed with deadly effectiveness. The disparity between her outward appearance and her actions underscores a deeply troubling duality. The victims of Lily were drawn into her web under the guise of affection and care, a testament to her manipulative prowess. Each case that came to light revealed a pattern of predatory behavior, cloaked in a veneer of normalcy and benevolence. This manipulation of perception was a key element of her modus operandi, allowing her to operate undetected for years. The investigation into Lily's crimes peeled back the layers of her meticulously crafted persona, revealing the depth of her deception. Law enforcement officials, upon unraveling the extent of her actions, were confronted with the challenge of proving her guilt in the face of her calculated innocence. In the courtroom, Lily's case became a study in the complexities of criminal psychology, with experts delving into her past in search of explanations for her present. The debate over whether she was born with a predisposition towards violence or shaped by her experiences became central to the proceedings. Understanding Lily's story requires a careful consideration of both her life's narrative and the broader questions it raises about human nature, morality, and the capacity for change. Her story is a somber reminder of the potential for darkness that resides within, influenced by a confluence of factors both innate and external. As we reflect on Lily's life and crimes, it becomes clear that the journey from innocence to monstrosity is complex and multifaceted. It challenges us to think deeply about the origins of evil and the possibility of redemption, even in the most troubling of cases. Attention had always followed Sheila. With a beautiful voice and captivating looks, she could have been a star. But fate had other plans. Instead of adorning bright billboards, her name filled the dark pages of criminal records. The unimaginable cruelty of her father, Leo. Alcohol ruled his life, turning him into a monster at home. His binges transformed him into a beast, hurling insults and beatings with abandon. He wasn't above throwing his family out in the middle of the night, forcing them to huddle in the barn, or shiver in the open fields. One drunken rampage turned particularly violent. A hurled flower pot struck Sheila's head, leaving a permanent scar at her temple, a constant reminder of the trauma. But the physical wounds paled in comparison to the violations she and her sisters suffered at their father's hands. Their mother, aware perhaps but powerless, remained silent. Despite the horrors at home, Sheila thrived in school. Her ambition burned bright, a desperate yearning to escape the farm and pursue her dreams in the big city. She wouldn't let her circumstances extinguish her determination. Sheila was deeply committed to achieving her dreams of becoming an actress or a pop star, equipped with an engaging personality, striking looks, and a beautiful singing voice. Barely an adult at 18, she left the tumultuous environment of her family home, only to face the stark challenges of independence. Hindered by her mediocre academic performance, she couldn't pursue higher education, and without sufficient funds, the move to a major city remained out of reach. Consequently, Sheila took a job as a hotel maid, a position her older sister already held. Sheila's allure was undeniable, with her slim physique, vivid blue eyes, winsome smile, and voluminous hair capturing abundant male attention. With time, she adeptly learned to navigate this attention to her benefit. In the late 1970s, her life took a turn when she met Liam, a young man with a daughter from a past relationship. Despite his parental responsibilities, the couple married quickly. However, their marriage crumbled in mere months due to Sheila's mistreatment of Jonathan's daughter, ranging from physical abuse to confinement for minor misbehaviors. Upon discovering this, Jonathan swiftly filed for divorce, banishing Sheila and her belongings from his life without a backward glance. Sheila's fervent ambition to realize her childhood dreams burned brightly within her, fueled by an unwavering determination to break free from the constraints of her upbringing. Despite the allure of the stage and the promise of stardom, her journey into adulthood took an unexpected turn when she hastily entered into marriage at the tender age of 18. Leaving behind the tumultuous environment of her family home, Sheila found herself grappling with the harsh realities of adulthood. Hindered by her academic shortcomings and the financial constraints that tethered her to her small-town existence, the glittering lights of the big city remained tantalizingly out of reach. Undeterred, she seized upon the opportunity to work as a maid in a local hotel, where her older sister had already carved out a place for herself. Sheila's magnetic presence drew admiring gazes wherever she went, her slender frame and captivating features making her the object of desire for many suitors. With each passing day, she honed her ability to captivate and manipulate those who sought her attention, skillfully weaving her way through the complex web of human emotions. It was amidst the backdrop of the late 1970s that Sheila's life intersected with that of Liam, a young man with a daughter from a previous relationship. Despite the complexities of his past, Sheila found herself drawn to Jonathan's youthful charm and the promise of a fresh start. Their whirlwind romance culminated in marriage, yet the honeymoon phase proved to be short-lived. Behind closed doors, a darker reality emerged as Sheila's struggles with her newfound role as a stepmother came to light. Jonathan's daughter became the unwitting victim of her frustrations, subjected to mistreatment and neglect at the hands of her new guardian. When Jonathan uncovered the truth, he wasted no time in severing ties with Sheila, casting her out of his life without a second thought. Left to navigate the turbulent waters of singledom once more, Sheila found herself adrift in a sea of fleeting romances and fractured dreams. Yet, amid the wreckage of her past, a glimmer of hope remained, a flickering beacon of possibility that beckoned her towards a future yet unwritten. After her second marriage ended, the young woman began seeking companionship through the dating columns of print media, leaving her ads there as well. However, none of her relationships lasted long, as Sheila tended to assert dominance, stifling her partners both intimately and in daily life. Meanwhile, the photo of an attractive girl in the dating section caught the attention of 60-year-old Aaron. Having been married twice before with adult children and grandchildren and widowed a few years ago, Bill lived alone on his spacious country ranch. A wealthy man with a chiropractic office in Epping, New Hampshire, and a passion for raising horses, Bill was deeply lonely and sought a strong, powerful companion. Sheila, drawn to Bill's wealth, saw him as an ideal match. She allured him with frank letters and nude photos, enticing him to invite her to his ranch. Their romance blossomed quickly, with Bill showering his young mistress with expensive gifts. In the summer of 1987, Sheila moved in with him, greatly flattering the doctor, who relished having a beautiful, much younger companion by his side. Although Bill never intended to marry Sheila, she preemptively took on his last name, assuming they were bound in matrimony. Sheila gradually exerted control over Bill's affairs, including his business, finances, and property. As Bill aged and became unable to fulfill her intimate needs, Sheila claimed he allowed her to seek companionship elsewhere, often bringing other men into their home without his objection. One of Sheila's regular lovers in the mid-90s was Jackson, a Jamaican national significantly younger than her. Initially hired as an au pair on the ranch, Wayne soon moved into the owner's house with Bill's reluctant consent, likely pressured by Sheila. In 1995, Sheila and Wayne formalized their relationship, with Sheila declaring him her sole partner. However, Wayne soon discovered that Sheila continued seeing other men. Frustrated, Wayne confronted Sheila and her latest lover, resulting in a physical altercation where both suffered injuries. Sheila, accustomed to dominance, found herself unsure how to handle Wayne's aggression, leading to their eventual divorce. Seeking protection, Sheila obtained a court injunction against Wayne, accusing him of violence and assault. Despite the divorce, Sheila's tumultuous personal life persisted. Her relationships frequently ended in legal disputes, with men accusing her not only of cruelty, but also of endangering their lives. She intentionally struck one boyfriend with a car, merely running him over, while another suffered a severe head injury, and yet another was left permanently scarred after she scratched his face. As Sheila aged, her behavior became increasingly perilous. She demanded obedience from her partners, reacting with fury to any disobedience. In 2000, at the age of 74, Bill LaBar passed away from heart failure. Although authorities found no evidence of foul play, his family suspected Sheila of slowly poisoning him over the years, believing she had driven him to his demise. Despite never being officially married, Sheila inherited all of Bill's property according to his will. Despite attempts by his relatives to contest the will in court, they were unsuccessful, convinced that Sheila had coerced Bill into leaving her everything he owned. As Sheila's life unfolded, her relationships continued to entangle her in drama and danger. Jackson, a young Jamaican national, entered her life as an au pair on the ranch. Despite their significant age gap, Sheila and Wayne found themselves drawn to each other, and with Bill's hesitant approval, Wayne moved into the main house. Their relationship deepened, culminating in a formal union in 1995. Sheila assured Wayne that he was her only love, yet behind his back she continued her liaisons with other men. The discovery of Sheila's infidelity ignited a fiery confrontation between Wayne and her latest paramour. Fists flew and tempers flared, leaving both men nursing bruises and resentment. For the first time, Sheila found herself on the receiving end of aggression, unsure how to quell the turmoil within her love life. As tensions escalated, Sheila made the painful decision to end her marriage with Wayne, seeking legal protection from his violent outbursts. Despite the dissolution of her marriage, Sheila's penchant for tumultuous relationships persisted. Her love affairs became battlegrounds, marked by legal disputes and accusations of brutality. She wielded her power recklessly, using her car as a weapon against one lover and inflicting permanent scars on another in fits of rage. With each passing year, Sheila's behavior grew increasingly erratic and dangerous. She demanded absolute obedience from her partners, brooking no dissent. Any challenge to her authority elicited a torrent of fury, leaving her lovers cowed and scarred both physically and emotionally. In 2000, the patriarch of Sheila's tumultuous love life, Bill LaBar, succumbed to heart failure at the age of 74. Though authorities found no evidence of foul play, suspicions lingered among his family members. They harbored a deep-seated belief that Sheila had slowly poisoned Bill over the years, manipulating him until his untimely demise. Despite never formalizing their relationship through marriage, Sheila inherited the entirety of Bill's estate, as outlined in his will. His relatives, convinced that Sheila had coerced Bill into bequeathing his wealth to her, attempted to contest the will in court to no avail. The legacy of Sheila's chaotic love life endured, casting a shadow over the memory of Bill Labar and leaving a trail of broken hearts and shattered lives in its wake. Following Bill's passing, Sheila gained full control over his estate. Unrestrained by anyone else's opinion, she transformed her home into a den of temptation and indulgence, where inhibitions held no sway. Sheila prowled the streets, bars, and internet, ensnaring men with promises of unearthly pleasure, only to subject them to her whims upon arrival at her ranch. She didn't discriminate based on age, skin color, or appearance, luring couriers with offers of alternative payments. However, Sheila's allure faded with time, and her attempts at seduction were met with reluctance. Neighbors observed a revolving door of men at her ranch, some fleeing shortly after arrival, others lingering briefly. Desperate to satisfy her desires, Sheila targeted men in dire circumstances, exploiting their vulnerabilities. Among them was George, a homeless man grappling with addiction, whom Sheila offered shelter, sustenance, and drugs in exchange for companionship. As Michael became ensnared in Sheila's web, she subjected him to increasingly sadistic acts, relishing in his torment. Despite his attempts to escape, Michael remained under her control, too afraid to seek help. When his family finally intervened, it was too late. Michael vanished without a trace, and Sheila's claims of their breakup offered no solace. Unbeknownst to Archie County, a naive young man drawn in by Sheila's enchanting voice and promises of love, he was soon ensnared in her web of manipulation. Sheila exploited Archie's dependence on his mother, severing ties and luring him into her home with false promises of everlasting bliss. Yet, Archie's dreams turned to nightmares as Sheila revealed her true nature, subjecting him to brutal assaults in a chamber of horrors within her home. Despite his battered state, Archie remained trapped, unable to break free from his captor's grasp. Sheila had full control over Archie, isolating him from his loved ones. His family, unable to contact him, could only speculate about his well-being. Concerns about Archie's welfare arose when neighbors noticed his alarming physical state. A store clerk captured an image of Archie, revealing his emaciated form, bruised face, and probable broken nose, indicating prolonged abuse. Even his purchases, including fuel for self-cremation, raised alarm among store staff. Despite reports to the police about possible domestic violence, Sheila evaded repercussions. She prevented Archie from contacting his family and rebuffed their inquiries with aggression. Eventually, Archie's family reported him missing, suspecting he was held against his will at Sheila's ranch. Police investigations uncovered disturbing evidence, including human remains in makeshift fires and traces of blood throughout the property. The discovery of videotapes further exposed Sheila's depravity, as they depicted tortured confessions from Archie and others. Sheila's deteriorating mental health became a focal point of her defense, with claims of delusions and schizophrenia. However, testimonies from ex-husbands and lovers painted her as volatile and manipulative. Despite attempts to plead insanity, Sheila was convicted in 2008 and sentenced to life imprisonment without parole. Sheila currently serves her sentence in Florida's Homestead Correctional Facility. This case highlights the harrowing consequences of unchecked mental illness and manipulation. The case of Sheila and Archie unveils a chilling narrative of manipulation and violence. Sheila's iron grip over Archie's life, cutting him off from his loved ones and subjecting him to unimaginable abuse, reflects the darkest corners of human behavior. Archie's plight, hidden behind closed doors, serves as a stark reminder of the silent suffering endured by many victims of domestic abuse. The gradual escalation of concern From neighbors noticing Archie's deteriorating appearance to the eerie discoveries made by the police at Sheila's ranch, paints a grim picture of the extent of her atrocities. The image of human remains burning in makeshift fires and traces of blood scattered throughout the property evoke a sense of horror and disbelief. The videotapes depicting tortured confessions reveal the depths of Sheila's depravity and the lengths she would go to maintain her control. The testimonies of those who knew her further expose her manipulative nature and the terror she inflicted upon her victims. Despite attempts to plead insanity, the court's decision to convict Sheila and sentence her to life imprisonment without parole sends a clear message about accountability for one's actions, regardless of mental health struggles. However, it also raises questions about the adequacy of mental health support systems and the importance of early intervention in preventing such tragedies. Sheila's case serves as a sobering reminder of the importance of vigilance and intervention in cases of domestic abuse, as well as the need for continued efforts to address mental health issues within society. Only by shining a light on such dark corners can we hope to prevent similar tragedies in the future. The aftermath of Sheila's arrest opened a window into the complex web of her psyche. As forensic experts delved deeper into the investigation, they uncovered not only the physical evidence of her crimes, but also the twisted labyrinth of her mind. Sheila's mental health history emerged as a central focus, raising questions about the intersection of mental illness and criminal behavior. Her delusional disorder and signs of schizophrenia painted a haunting portrait of a mind consumed by paranoia and hallucinations. Sheila's self-proclaimed mission as an angel sent from heaven to protect children from harm revealed the distorted reality she inhabited. It was a reality where she saw herself as a righteous avenger, justified in her heinous acts by a divine mandate. The defense's attempts to portray Sheila as a profoundly sick individual struggling with the trauma of her past sought to humanize her in the eyes of the court. Yet, amidst the testimonies of her ex-husbands and lovers, a pattern of manipulation and violence emerged, challenging the notion of her innocence. The chilling accounts of Sheila's attempts to coerce others into carrying out her bidding, including plotting murder for personal gain, shed light on the depths of her moral depravity. Her ex-husband's descriptions of her relentless persuasion tactics underscored the calculated nature of her actions. Despite the defense's efforts to cast doubt on her culpability, the court's decision to convict Sheila spoke volumes about the gravity of her crimes. In the end, justice prevailed, and Sheila was sentenced to spend the rest of her life behind bars. Yet, even as Sheila languishes in prison, her case raises broader questions about the intersection of mental illness, manipulation, and criminality. It serves as a stark reminder of the importance of early intervention and support for individuals struggling with mental health issues, as well as the need for vigilance in identifying and addressing signs of abuse and manipulation within our communities. When the news broke that 77-year-old billionaire Nobu had with 22-year-old Arata, the entire nation of Japan was taken aback. The surprise turned to shock when, merely 3 months into their marriage, Nobu was found dead under mysterious circumstances. The investigation quickly zeroed in on his young bride, who displayed a curious lack of emotion over his demise. Despite the suspicious elements surrounding her, the absence of definitive proof made it difficult for authorities to formally charge her with the crime. Questions arose: who exactly was Nobu, and what motives could his wife have had for allegedly orchestrating such a heinous act? The investigation not only unearthed clues, but also unveiled Nobu's controversial history with over 4,000 women. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Sunny, and today we're diving into the bizarre tale of Nobu. This story is undoubtedly among the most unusual ones I've encountered. As I've mentioned in previous episodes, Japan boasts an impressive safety record, making the instances of murder all the more jarring and complex. For those intrigued by true crime, mysterious narratives, and bone-chilling tales, you're in the right place. Hit subscribe, grab a cup of coffee, and let's get into it with the peculiar case of Nobu. Today's journey takes us to the southern reaches of Japan, to the city of Tanabe in Wakayama Prefecture. Tanabe serves not only as a historical landmark, but also as a vital hub for both land and sea transportation in the region. Despite its significance, Tanabe maintains the charm of a tranquil coastal city, home to some 65,000 residents. As we delve deeper into the enigmatic case of Nobu and his untimely demise, it becomes clear that the tranquil appearance of Tanabe City belies the complexity and darkness of this mystery. The story of Nobu, a man whose wealth and personal life had been the subject of much public fascination, takes a grim turn with his sudden death, leaving the community and the nation to grapple with a whirlwind of speculation and disbelief. Nobu, known for his extravagant lifestyle and a long history of romantic entanglements, had lived a life that many found hard to comprehend. His marriage to the much younger Arata added another layer of intrigue to his already controversial existence. The stark age difference between the couple, combined with Nobu's notorious past, set the stage for widespread speculation and rumor-mongering. Yet, nothing could prepare the public for the news of his death, a puzzle that would challenge the very fabric of what was believed possible in the safe, orderly society of Japan. The investigation into Nobu's death unfolded like a labyrinth, with each clue seeming to lead only to more questions. Arata, at the center of this storm, remained an enigma. Her apparent indifference to her husband's death struck many as unnatural, perhaps a sign of guilt, yet her demeanor, in the absence of hard evidence, left law enforcement and the public alike in a state of limbo. Who was this young woman, and what connection, if any, did she have to the fate of Nobu? As authorities dug deeper, they uncovered details of Nobu's life that painted a picture of a man who was as complex as he was wealthy. His relationships with over 4,000 women were not just a testament to his lavish lifestyle, but also hinted at the complicated interpersonal dynamics that might hold the key to understanding his sudden demise. The question of motive loomed large. What could drive someone to commit such a heinous act, assuming foul play was involved? Was it jealousy, greed, revenge, or something yet unseen? As we explore the intricate details of this case, we find ourselves confronted with the darker aspects of human nature and the mysteries that lie within seemingly straightforward narratives. The case of Nobu is a reminder that behind the facade of wealth and public persona, there are layers of complexity that often go unnoticed until tragedy strikes. In our next segment, we'll dive into the investigation's findings, examine the potential motives behind Nobu's death, and explore how this case has impacted the local community and beyond. Stay tuned and remember, the truth is often stranger and more intricate than fiction. Grab your coffee and let's continue unraveling the mystery of Nobu's demise. Nestled in the southern expanse of the Kii Peninsula, Tanabe is a city that harmoniously blends the natural beauty of its coastal and mountainous geography with a rich cultural heritage, particularly noted for its contributions to Japan's fishing and agriculture sectors. Known especially for its succulent oranges and nuboshi, a traditional Japanese pickled plum, Tanabe has carved out a reputation for these agricultural delights. Despite its serene charm and vital economic role, Tanabe has experienced a gradual decline in population over the years, shrinking to half its size since the 1940s. It was against this backdrop of a slowly transforming Tanabe that the Nozaki family called home. Born into this changing world on April 13, 1941, Ren Nozaki was the third of 7 children. Life in a bustling household meant Ren often found himself lost in the shuffle, necessitating a degree of self-reliance from a young age. Despite his parents' love, Ren was known as something of a troublemaker, frequently clashing with his siblings and facing challenges at school, including bullying and poor academic performance. These difficulties led him to forego further education in favor of contributing to the family's income by working in their local liquor store. The Nozaki family, not particularly affluent, welcomed his assistance. During these formative years, Ren developed a relentless drive for financial success, a passion that seemed to be sparked by both necessity and ambition. He was determined to do whatever it took to improve the store's profitability while simultaneously ensuring he had some personal financial independence. As time passed, the inevitable cycle of life saw Ren's parents pass away, leaving him and his siblings their inheritance. It was with this inheritance that Ren made a pivotal decision to venture into the world of entrepreneurship, leveraging the financial boost to lay the foundation for what would become a vast business empire. Ren's journey from a troublesome schoolboy to a business mogul is a testament to his unwavering focus on wealth accumulation and financial independence. His early experiences in Tanabe, from the family liquor store to his initial taste of business success, set the stage for a life that would be filled with both controversy and accomplishment. The city of Tanabe, with its declining population and tranquil lifestyle, remained an integral part of this story, a reminder of the humble beginnings from which one of its most infamous sons rose to prominence. Embarking on a business path that was morally ambiguous at best, Ren Nozaki's initial foray into the realm of entrepreneurship was not through what many would consider noble means. He became what was essentially a glorified loan shark, operating in a time when regulatory oversight on lending was virtually non-existent. During this era, the constraints that now cap interest rates at 20% to prevent predatory lending practices were absent, allowing individuals like Ren to operate with impunity. His ventures into this dark finance, or yamakin, as it's colloquially known in Japanese, a contraction of yami kinyu, meaning dark finance, epitomized the ruthless pursuit of profit at the expense of others, exploiting the financial desperation of people to build his wealth. This approach to business inevitably led to further estrangement between Ren and his siblings. Their relationship, already fraught with tension, was severely tested as Ren delved deeper into these questionable methods of wealth accumulation. His disregard for the ethical implications of his actions widened the rift within the family, casting a shadow over his character and the legitimacy of his entrepreneurial spirit. Despite the morally dubious nature of his initial success, Ren's ambition was not limited to the loan sharking business. He diversified his interests, venturing into scrap metal collection, real estate development, and even door-to-door condom sales. Reports from the time suggest that these additional ventures did not turn out to be particularly profitable, hinting that the lion's share of his wealth was indeed amassed through the exploitation of debtors. However, Ren's persistence in the world of business eventually led him to real estate, where he would make the fortunes that cemented his status as a successful, albeit controversial, businessman. Adding to his notorious reputation was a conviction for tax evasion, further tarnishing his public image and cementing his persona as an entrepreneur who skirted the edges of legality and morality. Despite the dubious means through which he accumulated his wealth, Ren's financial success allowed him to indulge in a lavish lifestyle and a series of personal exploits that were as controversial as his business practices. Ren's personal life, particularly his romantic entanglements, became as much a topic of public fascination as his business dealings. With wealth came notoriety, and with notoriety came an ever-increasing number of romantic partners. It's here that Ren's life story takes yet another turn, veering into the realms of personal indulgence and excess. His pursuit of wealth was mirrored by a pursuit of pleasure, leading to a complicated and controversial personal life that would eventually intertwine with his professional endeavors in unexpected and dramatic ways. Ren Nozaki's reputation as a flamboyant and unorthodox businessman only grew with each passing year, painting the picture of a man who lived as boldly in his personal life as he did in the business world. His relationships, numbering in the thousands, were talked about with a mix of awe and disapproval, showcasing a lifestyle that many found hard to understand or accept. This aspect of his life, marked by its sheer excess, became as much a part of his identity as his wealth. As Nozaki navigated through the complexities of his business and personal life, his ventures into real estate began to flourish, significantly augmenting his wealth. His success in real estate seemed to provide a semblance of legitimacy to his otherwise controversial career, allowing him to establish a more respectable facade in the public eye. However, this did not mean he left his previous ventures behind. The shadow of his past as a loan shark and his conviction for tax evasion lingered, contributing to a mixed public perception that oscillated between admiration for his entrepreneurial spirit and disdain for his ethical lapses. Nozaki's wealth allowed him to indulge in a lifestyle that few could imagine, but it also isolated him in many ways. His relationships, often seen as transactions or conquests, highlighted a life filled with luxury but lacking in genuine connection. The question of whether his wealth could buy happiness lingered beneath the surface of his extravagant existence. The complexity of Ren Nozaki's character made him a subject of fascination and speculation. To some, he was a self-made success story, a man who rose from modest beginnings to achieve incredible wealth and status. To others, he was a cautionary tale of ambition run amok, a man whose ethical compromises and personal excesses led to a life of emptiness despite his financial achievements. His marriage to the much younger Arata was perhaps the most public and controversial chapter of his personal life. The age difference between them, combined with Nozaki's notorious background, fueled widespread speculation and judgment. The sudden and mysterious circumstances of his death only months after their marriage added a dark twist to his already complex narrative, transforming his life story into a true crime saga that captivated the nation. The investigation into Nozaki's death would unearth more than just the details of a mysterious demise. It would shine a light on the darker corners of his life and legacy. As authorities delved deeper, the public was left to grapple with the dichotomy of Ren Nozaki, a man whose pursuit of success knew no bounds but who, in the end, remained an enigma, a figure as captivating in death as he was in life. In this unfolding story, the lines between ambition and excess, between love and transaction, blur. Nozaki's life serves as a mirror to the complexities of human nature, challenging onlookers to ponder the true cost of wealth and the pursuit thereof. As the case progresses, it promises not only to reveal the circumstances of his untimely demise, but also to offer a reflection on the values and choices that define a life. Fascinated by women, he held the belief that sexual encounters were the central purpose of existence. In his travels from door to door selling condoms, he subtly offered additional, more intimate services to women he perceived as solitary. It seemed his strategies often bear fruit. Known as a prosperous playboy, his escapades, both paid and unpaid, with numerous women were well documented. He reportedly expended over 3 billion yen, the equivalent of about 26 million USD, on interactions with over 4,000 women throughout the years. When a Japanese broadcaster inquired about his actions, he openly stated his approach to women he found attractive, promising 400,000 yen in exchange for their company. His expenditures weren't confined to personal encounters. He was also known to lavish money in nightclubs, particularly in Keishinchi, a renowned entertainment district in Osaka. His lifestyle, however, was not without consequences. His tendency to swindle both acquaintances and strangers alike led to numerous conflicts, and in 1998, he was reportedly stabbed by someone he had attempted to defraud in a loan sharking scheme. As loan sharking became less profitable, he turned his attention to his family's liquor store, which had seen growth in both size and revenue. His wealth and notoriety received a further boost in 2016 with the publication of his autobiography, Don Joan of Kishu. Released in December of that year, the book detailed his journey to affluence. Despite its focus on his financial ascent, the autobiography struggled to gain widespread popularity. However, it wasn't until his story was featured in an episode of AIM Talk, a popular TV show in Japan, that his book gained significant attention. Combined with a few interviews, this media exposure catapulted his autobiography to bestseller status, irrespective of its literary quality. At this point, Ren had amassed a fortune that allowed him almost any luxury: exotic cars, multiple properties, first-class global travel, and expensive yachts were just a part of his opulent lifestyle. He was known for extravagantly attempting to win over women he found attractive by attaching free money to letters as a lure, primarily in hopes of intimate encounters. By 2017, at the age of 77, Ren had entered what many would consider his golden years, yet he showed no signs of slowing down, particularly in his romantic endeavors. Japan is known for its high life expectancy, a fact Ren attributed to his own longevity, claiming in his autobiography that he avoided smoking, drugs, and stimulants despite his prolific number of sexual partners. That year marked a turning point for him. After 2 failed marriages, he was ready to find true love, which he did with Anna, a woman 55 years his junior. Ren had previously been married twice, resulting in divorce each time, with no close companions except for his trusted dachshund named Emi. He often humorously mentioned that Emi would inherit his empire should he pass away. His encounter with Anna in the autumn of 2017 was, by his account, faked. Despite the vast age difference, she was only 22. They connected almost immediately after a chance meeting, or perhaps a staged stumble, at Tokyo Han Airport. Though initially just another conquest among thousands, it quickly became much more significant to him, and they were married within months. Anna, born in 1996, was significantly younger than Ren. Originating from Sapporo on Japan's northern island, Hokkaido, she came from a relatively affluent family, which afforded her luxuries such as designer brands and high-quality foods. Ren was not driven academically and faced bullying, leading to her being quite reserved during her school years. However, in her mid-teens, her personality began to change as she started to indulge in expensive fashion and beauty, supported financially by her parents. This newfound interest in aesthetics and wealth led her to pursue a career in beauty and makeup. To supplement her income, she allegedly also engaged in sex work and appeared in adult films, underscoring a complex narrative intertwined with themes of ambition, desire, and the search for love amidst unconventional circumstances. Saki's move to Tokyo, ostensibly to pursue her career as a beautician, was shadowed by her infatuation with a host from a bar in Sapporo. She had been lavishing him with attention and money, up to 150,000 yen, around $1,000 for his company. When he decided to relocate to Tokyo, she didn't hesitate to follow. However, their relationship, built on financial transactions rather than emotional connection, soon disintegrated. By then, Saki had set her sights on a new, more lucrative target, Ren Nobu, the so-called Don Juan of Kishu. Their meeting at an airport led to a whirlwind romance, culminating in marriage just a few months later. Ren, perhaps eager to ensure his young bride's happiness and loyalty, offered her a contract absolving her of any traditional domestic duties and providing her with a generous monthly allowance of 1 million yen. It seemed Ren was content to spend his twilight years in comfort and companionship with Saki, away from his notorious past. The couple, often seen with Ren's beloved dog, Emi, enjoyed a seemingly idyllic life filled with leisurely walks, shopping trips in Ren's Mercedes, and dinners at upscale restaurants. This peaceful existence suggested that Rime had finally found a semblance of domestic bliss. However, this tranquil period was short-lived. Merely 3 months into their marriage, Rime's life came to an abrupt end. But the seeds of this tragic conclusion were sown 18 days earlier with another sorrowful Emi, the death of his cherished dog, Emi. On May 6, 2018, Rime was awakened by Emi's distressing yelps. The dog was suffering from uncontrollable fits and severe pain. Despite Rime's readiness to seek veterinary help, Emi passed away in his arms within minutes, leaving him heartbroken. Emi had been more than a pet. She was his constant companion and source of unconditional love for over a decade. The loss left Rime enveloped in grief, a profound sadness that was compounded by the loony tragedy of his own demise. In his mourning, Rime arranged for a monk to conduct the ceremony for Emi, a final farewell to his loyal friend, unaware of the fate that awaited him. The circumstances surrounding Emi's sudden demise were undeniably peculiar. Despite her advanced age, she had been in excellent health, showing no signs of illness or ailments. Her unexpected passing left Ren utterly bewildered. However, his bewilderment would soon be overshadowed by his own tragic fate. On the fateful Emi morning of May 24th, just 18 days after Emi's demise, Rime himself was discovered deceased. He was found nearly nude, slumped over on his bedroom couch in a disturbing posture. An autopsy revealed an alarmingly high concentration of stimulants in his system, a dosage far beyond what would be considered lethal. The cause of death was determined to be acute stimulant poisoning, resulting from the ingestion of a massive quantity of stimulants in one instance. This revelation presented a perplexing contradiction to those familiar with Rime's public persona. In his writings and public statements, he adamantly voiced his opposition to drugs and stimulants. Moreover, analysis of his hair indicated no long-term drug use. Furthermore, there were no signs of injection marks on his body, suggesting that the stimulant was consumed orally. This discrepancy led investigators to consider the possibility that both Ren's and perhaps even Emi's deaths were not merely tragic accidents but deliberate acts of foul play. The sudden shift in focus transformed Rena's residence into a scene of intense scrutiny by detectives, eager to unravel the mystery behind the deaths haunting the once tranquil abode. Surveillance footage revealed that in the hours leading up to Rene's death, only 2 individuals entered his property, his wife and his cleaner. The cleaner had spent most of the day with Ren, assisting him in arranging a funeral for Emi, his beloved dog. Around 4:00 p.m., the cleaner left briefly to run errands and returned around 6:30 p.m. Meanwhile, Saki remained downstairs while Rime went upstairs to make phone calls. Later that evening, they heard thumping noises from upstairs, prompting the cleaner to ask Saki to check on him. However, she seemed unconcerned, and it wasn't until 10:00 p.m. that the cleaner once again urged her to investigate. It was then that they discovered Ren's lifeless body in his bedroom. Given the circumstances, it seemed unlikely that Ren had intended to take his own life. The burning question remained: who had administered the lethal dose of stimulants? That only two individuals with access to Ren and the opportunity to administer the stimulants were his wife and his cleaner. However, the cleaner, who had been with Ren for over a decade, had no apparent motive or benefit to harm him. Thus, suspicion fell squarely on Saki, his 22-year-old wife of only 3 months. Some speculated that Saki may have been a gold digger, marrying Ren for financial gain. With Ren's vast wealth, estimated at 5 billion yen, approximately $33 million USD, she stood to inherit a substantial fortune upon his death. Moreover, her demeanor following Ren's passing, reportedly emotionless and preoccupied with her smartphone, even his funeral, raised eyebrows. Despite mounting suspicion, investigators lacked concrete evidence to charge Saki with murder. Attempts to find toxic substances in Ini's body proved inconclusive due to the advanced state of decomposition. Nevertheless, detectives were determined to pursue justice. In May 2021, 3 years after Ren's and Ini's deaths, Saki was arrested on suspicion of murder. With only a 30-day window to detain a suspect under Japanese law, authorities faced a race against time. Over the following weeks, evidence emerged implicating Saki further. Her phone data contradicted her plans about her movements on the day of Ren's death. Additionally, her internet search history revealed inquiries about drugs and stimulants shortly before Ini's demise. Forensic analysis uncovered traces of narcotics in the kitchen and vacuum cleaner, while her phone records indicated communication with a known drug dealer.
These damning revelations painted a troubling picture, casting serious doubt on Saki's innocence and leaving investigators determined to uncover the truth behind the deaths that had shrouded Ren's once peaceful abode. The technological evidence further solidified suspicions against Saki, confirming that both she and Ren were indeed in the same location at the time of his death. Reports surfaced suggesting that Ren had contemplated divorce in the weeks leading up to his demise due to Saki's reluctance to live with him in his Tab residence. Meanwhile, Ren had already found a new partner, adding to the strain in their relationship. The situation worsened when, just 2 months after Ren's death, Saki convened the shareholders' meeting at their residence, attending it alone. During the meeting, she appointed herself as president of the company and awarded herself an exorbitant annual salary of $1.5 million, along with a personal bonus of $400,000. Investigators, upon apprehending her in Tokyo, uncovered her plans to flee to Dubai with the substantial funds she had amassed. With this damning evidence at their disposal, Aina was formally charged with the murder of Ren Nobu. However, despite her arrest nearly 3 years ago, she awaits trial, and progress on the case has been notably slow. Concerns arise as there have been no updates on her current whereabouts, leading to speculation that she may have been discreetly released. Proving Saki's guilt presents a formidable challenge for authorities, especially considering the difficulty in substantiating poison-related offenses, particularly after such a considerable amount of time has passed. Despite the mounting evidence against her, Saki adamantly maintains her innocence, professing her love for Ren. Friends of Ren corroborate his intention to divorce Saki, with one revealing that he had been asked to be present during the confrontation. This detail fuels speculation that Saki may have learned of the impending divorce and impulsively resorted to murder to secure her inheritance. As the legal proceedings linger, uncertainty looms over the fate of Ren's estate, which remains frozen. The tragic deaths of both Ren and Imi cast a somber shadow over the unresolved case. While Saki is entitled to the presumption of innocence until proven guilty, suspicions surrounding her persist, with many attributing to her the unsettling aura of a potential gold-digging murderer. Ultimately, the truth behind Ren's untimely demise remains shrouded in uncertainty, leaving lingering questions and the sense of injustice. As the investigation unfolds, only time will reveal the full extent of Saki's involvement and whether justice will prevail for the victims and their loved ones. Our journey takes us to Indianapolis, a city blending modernity with ancient traditions, boasting art museums showcasing cultural achievements from past and present. Indianapolis is famous for its vibrant festivals, with the Indy 500 race being a highlight. However, for the Blackburn family, Indianapolis, initially a haven of peace and spirituality, turned into the scene of a tragic event. On the fateful morning of November 10, 2015, Justin returned home from the gym routine. A routine phone call delayed his exit from the car. Upon entering the house, he was met with a harrowing sight. His wife lying in a pool of blood on the living room floor. Shocked and confused, Davy rushed to her side, dialed emergency services, and desperately tried to assess her condition. Meanwhile, their home was in disarray, belongings scattered, and a child crying upstairs. Emergency services arrived swiftly, cordoning off the area as police officers and investigators flooded the scene. The victim, identified as 28-year-old Emma Blackburn, was rushed to the hospital. To understand the gravity of this tragedy, let's delve into Emma's background. Emma Grace Boers was born on July 31, 1987, in Muskegon, Michigan. She attended school in Indianapolis before the family relocated to Elkhart in 1995. There, Emma graduated from Elkhart Christian Academy in 2006, and by 2008, she earned an associate's degree from Pensacola Christian College in Florida. As we continue unraveling the threads of Emma's life, we discover a woman of remarkable accomplishments and aspirations. Emma's journey was marked by a deep sense of faith and a commitment to serving others, traits that endear her to those around her. Following her studies at Pensacola Christian College, Emma embarked on a path of service and ministry alongside her husband, Davy. Together, they shared a vision of spreading hope and compassion in their community. Their dedication led them to Indianapolis, where they established a thriving church community known for its inclusive and welcoming atmosphere. Emma's impact extended beyond the walls of the church. She was actively involved in various outreach programs, lending a helping hand to the less fortunate and offering support to those in need. Her warmth and generosity touched the lives of many, leaving a lasting impression wherever she went. Despite the challenges they faced, Emma and Davy remained steadfast in their faith and commitment to each other. Their love story was one of resilience and unwavering devotion, a beacon of hope amidst life's trials and tribulations. As we delve deeper into Emma's story, we're reminded of the fragility of life and the importance of cherishing every moment. Her untimely passing leaves a void in the hearts of those who knew her, but her legacy lives on through the lives she touched and the memories she created. In the midst of tragedy, we find solace in the knowledge that Emma's spirit lives on, guiding and inspiring us to live with purpose and compassion. And as we honor her memory, we're reminded of the profound impact one person can have on the world around them, a legacy of love and kindness that transcends time and space. Emma's upbringing was deeply rooted in faith, nurtured within the embrace of a devoutly religious family. Her father, the lead pastor of First Baptist Church in Elkhart, Indiana, instilled in her the values of Christianity, where the power of God's word held paramount importance. From a young age, Emma immersed herself in the religious traditions of the church, committing sermons and psalms to memory and honoring them unconditionally. While her peers were eager to explore the thrills of adolescence, Emma's heart belonged to Jesus, and her dreams revolved around serving him. She embodied the essence of purity, with her angelic appearance matched only by her genuine intentions and kind smile. Every action she took was an expression of love for her neighbor, a testament to her unwavering faith. During her teenage years, Emma made a solemn vow of chastity, pledging to reserve physical intimacy for marriage. True to her word, she remained steadfast in her commitment until she encountered her true and only love, Justin. Davy, hailing from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, shared Emma's devout faith, having studied religion at Southern Wesleyan University. Their love story unfolded gradually, blossoming from a chance encounter at a Hawk Nelson Christian band concert orchestrated by Emma's sister and Davy's best friend. Despite attending different colleges, their bond deepened with each passing vacation, characterized by platonic love and shared spiritual experiences. Their courtship was marked by reverence and tenderness, as they navigated the complexities of a long-distance relationship with unwavering devotion. Their commitment to each other was so profound that they sought guidance from a psychologist to enhance their communication skills. On August 1, 2008, Emma and Davy exchanged vows, sealing their union in holy matrimony. Davy confided in friends that their connection was ordained by God, a sentiment echoed by Emma, who believed in a divine plan guiding their journey. For the first 4 years of their marriage, the Blackburns resided in South Carolina, where Davy served as an associate pastor at New Spring Church under Pastor Perry Noble. However, Davy harbored aspirations of founding a church tailored to youth in Indianapolis, prompting the couple's relocation in 2012. In Indianapolis, they embark on a mission to establish a vibrant church community dedicated to nurturing the spiritual growth of young people. Their efforts bore fruit as their church attracted a sizable congregation, drawn to their dynamic sermons and relatable messages. Their happiness seemed complete with the arrival of their firstborn son, Weston, in 2014. They reveled in the joys of parenthood, cherishing the blessings bestowed upon them. However, the tranquility of their lives was shattered on November 10, 2015. Ambulance crews descended upon their residence on Sunnyfield Court, responding to a crisis that would forever alter the course of their family's destiny. As the ambulance crews arrived at the Blackburn residence on that fateful November morning, the air crackled with tension, and a sense of foreboding hung heavy over the tranquil suburban street. Neighbors peered out from behind curtains, their usual calm shattered by the flurry of activity unfolding before them. Inside the Blackburn home, chaos reigned supreme. What was once a sanctuary of peace and familial warmth had been transformed into a scene of unspeakable horror. The usually pristine living room now bore witness to a tragedy that defied comprehension, as Emma lay motionless amidst a pool of crimson, her life hanging in the balance. Davy stood by her side, his heart heavy with anguish and disbelief. The shock etched across his face mirrored the collective disbelief of those gathered around him. How could such senseless violence invade their haven of love and faith? As paramedics rushed to Emma's aid, their urgent movements a stark contrast to the stillness that pervaded the room. Davy's mind raced with unanswered questions. What had transpired in the moments leading up to this nightmare? Who could perpetrate such a heinous act against his beloved wife? In the midst of the chaos, one thing remained certain: the Blackburn family's world had been irrevocably shattered. Gone was the idyllic existence they had worked so tirelessly to cultivate. In its place stood a gaping void, a painful reminder of the fragility of life and the randomness of fate. As Emma was whisked away to the hospital, her fate hanging in the balance, Davy clung to a flicker of hope amidst the darkness. Surely, God had not abandoned them in their hour of need. Surely, there was still light to be found amidst the shadows. Little did Davy know that the road ahead would be fraught with challenges and heartache, testing the very limits of his faith and resilience. But in the face of adversity, he would draw strength from the love he shared with Emma, a love that transcended time and space. As the investigation into the events of that tragic morning unfolded, the Blackburn family would come to embody the resilience of the human spirit, a beacon of hope in a world darkened by despair. And though their journey would be fraught with pain and uncertainty, they would emerge stronger, their bond unbreakable, their faith unwavering. The arrival of the ambulance crews at the Blackburn residence signaled the beginning of a frantic race against time. Emma, the young woman now fighting for her life, was swiftly transported to the hospital, her fragile form hooked up to a ventilator as medical professionals worked tirelessly to save her and her unborn baby. Despite the Herculean efforts of the medical team, tragedy struck with devastating swiftness. Emma succumbed to her injuries the following day, her unborn child Anna, leaving this world alongside her. The news of Emma's passing reverberated far beyond the confines of her community, sparking an outpouring of sympathy and prayers on social media platforms. In the wake of Emma's untimely demise, her husband Davy bravely stepped forward to share his grief with the world. In an official statement released on November 11th, he paid tribute to Emma's unwavering commitment to love and serve others, proclaiming her legacy as a beacon of hope for countless souls. Despite the profound pain of his loss, Davy expressed his faith in God's plan, firmly believing that from the ashes of tragedy would emerge triumph, and that the best was yet to come. However, amidst the outpouring of grief and support, questions lingered about the circumstances surrounding Emma's death. The brutal nature of the attack, coupled with the loss of both mother and child, sent shockwaves rippling through the state, prompting calls for justice to be served. In the days following the crime, law enforcement officials worked tirelessly to unravel the mystery. Initial suspicions cast a shadow of doubt over Justin, Emma's grief-stricken husband. However, a thorough investigation soon cleared his name, as corroborating evidence and alibis placed him far from the scene of the crime. As the investigation delved deeper, details emerged of Emma's final moments, painting a chilling picture of a struggle for survival. Autopsy findings revealed multiple gunshot wounds, indicative of a fierce altercation between Emma and her assailant. Surveillance footage and witness interviews became crucial pieces of the puzzle, shedding light on the events leading up to that tragic November morning. Yet, despite the tireless efforts of law enforcement, justice remained elusive. The identity of Emma's killer remained shrouded in mystery, leaving her loved ones grappling with unanswered questions and a profound sense of loss. As the community mourned the loss of a beloved daughter, sister, and friend, Emma's memory lived on in the hearts of those who knew her best. Her legacy, defined by unwavering faith and boundless love, served as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit in the face of unspeakable tragedy. And though her voice may have been silenced, her spirit endured, a guiding light in the darkness, inspiring others to see justice and find solace in the midst of sorrow. The investigation into Emma Blackburn's tragic murder unearthed a web of events that sent shockwaves through the quiet neighborhood. Reports from neighbors added layers of complexity to the case, with one resident recalling hearing gunshots approximately 35 minutes after Davy had left the house. Another neighbor, Sarah, expressed disbelief, stating that their street was not accustomed to such violence and that the Blackburns, known for their warmth and kindness, did not deserve such a fate. Initial theories centered around robbery, given Emma's injuries and the missing items, including bank cards and a MacBook bag. Further scrutiny revealed a series of alarming incidents in the neighborhood on the morning of November 10, 2015. Multiple emergency calls reported home invasions and burglaries, with stolen items ranging from electronics to personal belongings. These incidents, occurring within close proximity and timeframe, raised suspicions of a coordinated crime spree. Lieutenant Richard Greer of the Indianapolis Police Department acknowledged the correlation between these incidents and Emma's homicide, prompting an intensified investigation. Images of possible suspects obtained from one of the burglarized homes were released to the public, soliciting assistance in identifying and apprehending the perpetrators. Despite the challenges, investigators remained resolute in their pursuit of justice. Key clues, including a stolen pink sweater, cell phone records, and an ATM receipt, provided crucial leads. DNA testing and surveillance footage implicated 3 suspects: Jane Watson, Maria, and Larry Taylor. The discovery of a gun near the Blackburn home further fueled speculation, prompting swift action from law enforcement. After weeks of meticulous analysis and detective work, 18-year-old Larry Taylor and 21-year-old Jane Watson were charged with Emma's murder. The arrest of the suspects brought a measure of closure to the Blackburn family and the community at large, yet questions lingered about the motive behind the senseless act of violence. As the legal proceedings unfolded, the search for answers continued, driven by a collective determination to honor Emma's memory and ensure that justice was served. The unraveling of Emma Blackburn's tragic fate culminated in the arrest and subsequent prosecution of the perpetrators responsible for her senseless murder. Larry Taylor, Jane Watson, and Maria emerged as the principal figures in a chilling saga of violence and robbery that shook the community to its core. Larry Taylor, the gunman behind Emma's untimely demise, confessed to the chilling details of the crime during interrogation. He admitted to shooting Emma twice in a panic-induced struggle, ultimately delivering the fatal blow to her head as she lay defenseless on the ground. His accomplices, Watson and Gordon, though not directly involved in the fatal shooting, were complicit in the burglary that preceded the tragic events of that November morning. The trio's crime spree, which targeted multiple homes in the neighborhood, left a trail of stolen belongings and shattered lives in its wake. Yet it was Emma's unwavering spirit and the collective determination of law enforcement that ultimately led to their apprehension. As the legal proceedings unfolded, Larry Taylor faced a litany of charges, including the willful killing of Emma Blackburn. The subsequent trials, marred by procedural setbacks, culminated in Taylor's sentencing to 86 years in the Indiana State Correctional Institution. Meanwhile, Watson and Gordon, having reached plea agreements, received sentences ranging from 20 to 35 years in prison. While justice was served, the scars left by Emma's tragic death continued to linger, a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the darkness that lurks in the shadows. Yet, amidst the sorrow and pain, there remained a glimmer of hope, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the unwavering commitment to seek truth and accountability. As Larry Taylor and his cohorts languish behind bars, Emma's memory lives on as a beacon of light, inspiring others to stand against injustice and uphold the sanctity of life. And though her voice may have been silenced, her legacy endures, a testament to the enduring power of love and the indomitable human spirit. In the wake of the arrests and subsequent convictions, the community grappled with a profound sense of closure, tinged with lingering questions about the nature of the crime and the motives behind it. The revelation that Emma's murder was not merely a random act of violence, but a targeted burglary gone awry, sent shockwaves through the neighborhood, prompting a collective reckoning with issues of safety and security. The Blackburn home, once a sanctuary of warmth and love, became a symbol of tragedy and loss, its walls bearing witness to the horrors that unfolded within. Yet amidst the darkness, there emerged a glimmer of light, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the power of community solidarity. As the legal proceedings unfolded, the Blackburn family found solace in the outpouring of support from friends, neighbors, and strangers alike. Their unwavering faith and steadfast determination to seek justice served as a guiding light in the darkness of times, inspiring others to stand up against violence and advocate for change. In the aftermath of Emma's murder, efforts to enhance neighborhood safety and security gained momentum, with residents coming together to implement measures aimed at preventing similar tragedies in the future. Community watch programs increased police patrols, and enhanced security measures became the new norm, as neighbors banded together to protect their homes and families. Yet, despite the passage of time, the scars left by Emma's tragic death continue to linger, a haunting reminder of the fragility of life and the ever-present threat of violence. Her memory lived on in the hearts of those who knew her best, a testament to the enduring power of love and the indomitable human spirit. As the years passed, the wounds slowly began to heal, but the legacy of Emma Blackburn remained etched in the collective consciousness of the community. Her life, though cut short, served as a beacon of hope and inspiration, reminding us all of the preciousness of every moment and the importance of cherishing those we hold dear. And though the pain of loss may never fully fade, the Blackburn family found comfort in the knowledge that Emma's spirit lived on, a guiding light of.
The once quiet streets buzzed with renewed energy as residents embraced their newfound sense of solidarity, turning tragedy into an opportunity to foster stronger bonds and cultivate a culture of compassion and vigilance. Enhanced security measures, including improved lighting and surveillance systems, became the new norm, serving as visible reminders of the community's commitment to protecting its most vulnerable members. Yet, despite the passage of time, the scars left by Emma's untimely death continue to linger, a sobering reminder of the fragility of life and the ever-present threat of violence. Her absence was keenly felt by all who knew her, her vibrant spirit serving as a constant source of inspiration for those striving to honor her memory and effect positive change in the world. As the years went by, the wounds slowly began to heal, but Emma's legacy remained etched in the collective consciousness of the community, a timeless reminder of the power of love, resilience, and the indomitable human spirit. Her life, though tragically cut short, served as a beacon of hope and inspiration, guiding the Blackburn family and their community forward with love, strength, and unwavering faith. And though Emma may no longer walk among us, her spirit lives on, a guiding light in the darkness, reminding us all to cherish every moment, to hold our loved ones close, and to never lose sight of the transformative power of empathy, compassion, and solidarity in the face of adversity. Prosecutors have motioned for an increased sentence for Larry Taylor, potentially adding 20 years to his prison term due to Emma Blackburn's pregnancy at the time of her alleged murder. Justin, the church's pastor, expressed relief that those accountable for his wife's death have been apprehended, preventing further harm. Emma Blackburn's tragic passing deeply impacted thousands, including the state's chief executive, with over 2,000 attendees at her Christian church funeral, including Governor Mike Pence. The church initiated a donation page to support funeral and medical expenses. Despite immense pain, Justin voiced hope for a judicious system and remarkably forgave Emma's killers. Amidst media attention, Davey transitioned into a prominent blogger, sharing his grief through podcasts and videos titled Nothing Wasted. While speculation surrounds an insurance payout post-Emma's demise, Davey's purchase of a new home suggests otherwise. Despite initial sorrow, Davey finds happiness in remarriage, emphasizing the theme, nothing is wasted.